It's a song about a girl named Emily.
I'm Emily.
Then I think your son may have written this song for you.
Julie and the Phantoms was a fun and unique musical show on Netflix that quickly became a fan favorite. It was based on a Brazilian series and created by Dan Cross and David Hodge, with well-known director Kenny Ortega, famous for High School Musical, involved. Season 1 premiered on September 10, 2020 and had just 9 episodes. The show followed Julie, played by Madison Reyes, a teen who forms a band with 3 ghost boys, Luke, Alex, and Reggie. The cast had great chemistry, and the series stood out because of its music, lighthearted humor, and heartfelt moments. It even won 3 Daytime Emmy Awards. The ending of Season 1 clearly set up a second season. The final episode left viewers with a lot of questions. Why didn't the ghosts move on after finishing their unfinished business? How were they suddenly able to touch Julie? What would happen now that the villain, Caleb, had taken over Nick's body? These mysteries were supposed to be explored in Season 2. The show's creators had exciting plans for the next season, including the band striving to get their music heard and dealing with new challenges, especially from someone close to them who had been possessed. Sadly, those plans never came to life, even though fans launched campaigns to bring the show back. So Julie and the Phantoms ended too soon, with many storylines and character arcs left unfinished. Julie and the Phantoms ended its first season with lots of questions and an emotional cliffhanger. When it first aired in 2020, it felt like the show was clearly setting up for a second season. Julie and Harry's broken friendship was one of the big unanswered questions. The show made it clear that they used to be close, but now Carrie acts like a rival. She even warns Nick to stay away from Julie, though during Julie's final performance, Carrie seems genuinely impressed. The tie-in books hint that both girls liked Nick, and that may have caused tension, but the show never confirmed it. It's unclear whether they might have mended their relationship in a second season. Another mystery involves Caleb, the villain who ends the season by possessing Nick. It's a strange move since Nick isn't close to the Phantoms. Maybe Caleb wanted to learn more about Julie, who had somehow broken his curse on the boys even though they never interacted. How long would it take for someone to realize Nick wasn't himself? Would Nick remember being possessed afterward? The show left these questions hanging. There's also the matter of whether Julie is magical. She's the only person who can see the Phantoms at first, and after they break free from Caleb, she's able to touch them. One character even jokes that she might be a witch. Maybe Julie had a special ability connected to love or music. The show never explained how the ghost rules worked or why Julie had such a strong connection to the band. Luke was devastated to learn that his old bandmate Bobby had become famous under a new name using the songs they had written together. It looked like Bobby stole the music after the others died, but maybe there was more to the story. As the only member who didn't eat the bad hot dogs, Bobby might have ended up performing their songs out of grief, or perhaps he was pressured into doing so. It's hard to say if he betrayed them or if it was more complicated. Another major question is whether the Phantoms are now fully solid and visible. At first, they could interact with the world under specific conditions, but by the end of the season, Julie can hug them. It's unclear whether this is permanent or if it's only something she can do. That change could have affected how they live, perform, and connect with others in a second season. Flynn, Julie's best friend, believed Julie's late mother had something to do with the boys showing up. She thought there were signs and clues pushing Julie back toward music. The books say Julie's mom met the boys before they died, but the show never confirmed if she was behind any of the supernatural events. Was it fate or something more? Luke got a moving moment with his family in the Unsaid Emily episode, but Alex and Reggie didn't get that chance. Reggie especially seemed to long for some kind of connection. He was upset to learn his childhood home had been torn down, and the books reveal he had a younger sibling. It would have been meaningful to explore that more. Alex and Willie's relationship was important to many fans. Willie, who had feared Caleb, warned Alex that helping the band could get him in trouble. The last time they see each other, Willie assumes Alex will disappear after the Orpheum performance. Since that didn't happen, fans hope they might reconnect. It's a storyline that had potential to grow. Even though the band thought playing at the Orpheum was their unfinished business, it clearly wasn't. After performing, they didn't cross over. So what were they still meant to do? Maybe it had something to do with Julie, or maybe they still needed to heal old wounds or accomplish something else important. The show never gave a clear answer. Finally, the big question is whether the boys were ever going to leave. The show was partly about grief and moving on, so it's possible that if Julie learned to accept her mom's loss, the band might cross over too. But the show also had magical elements, so it might have gone the other direction, possibly even bringing the boys back to life. But even though the show is charming and heartfelt, a lot of things in it didn't fully make sense when you think about them too closely. One of the biggest things is the connection between Julie and Luke. Their relationship starts to feel romantic, especially when Julie tells Nick, the boy she liked before, that she now has feelings for someone else, Luke. The problem? Luke is a ghost. No one else can see him, so if Julie started dating him, people would think she had an imaginary boyfriend, which would obviously be a little awkward. There's also the strange rule that ghosts, Luke, Reggie, and Alex, can only be seen when they're playing music. This is an interesting idea, but it raises questions. For example, if Luke just strummed one quiet note, would he appear for just a moment? Could they stay visible just by playing soft background music all the time? The show never really explains how this works in a consistent way. Then there's Caleb, a powerful ghost who runs a club for other ghosts. He lures spirits in with music and parties, but once they join, they're trapped. The idea of a ghost-only club in Los Angeles is fun, but doesn't make much logical sense. Caleb even makes things appear out of nowhere, more like a magician than a ghost, which adds to the confusion. Julie also gets kicked out of her school's music program because she can't perform after her mom dies, but when she sings again with the Phantoms, her principal immediately lets her back in. That decision seems a bit sudden and unrealistic, especially considering how professional the performances are for a high school setting. Toward the end of the season, things get even more magical and confusing. Caleb curses the boys with marks that threaten to destroy them, but Julie is able to remove the curse just by hugging them. This powerful moment isn't really explained, it just happens, and the show moves on as if that makes sense. The ghost rules are shaky in general. Sometimes the Phantoms can walk through walls, but other times they can hold objects or put on clothes. Like when Reggie wears a sheet to scare Julie's brother. If they can't touch things, how does the sheet stay on him? Another confusing point is why only Julie can see the boys. Since they're connected to her mom's studio, you'd think other members of her family might see them too, or at least sense something. Maybe the music itself is the link, but the show doesn't explain why Julie alone has this connection. Also, there aren't many other ghosts in the show. Besides Willie, who Alex meets, most of the other ghosts don't appear until the boys find Caleb's club. Does that mean almost all the ghosts in the city have already moved on, or that they're just hiding out at Caleb's party? Strangely, no one in the show questions the hologram explanation for the boys' appearances. Julie's performances feature glowing, moving holograms that seem almost magical, but nobody looks into how she's doing it. Not her classmates, not her teachers, not even her dad. Everyone just accepts it without question. Well, that's it for today. Would Julie and Luke have ever found a way to be together? Was Julie actually magical, and what really kept the Phantoms from moving on? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss more content like this.